Hey guys, welcome to the Arena Record Podcast. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Rachel.
All right, guys, and we're back.
Yeah,
for
back
another
again.
episode.
Episode number 2.
Woo, woo, woo. So we're very excited to be doing this. It was a lot of fun doing the first one, and we're really jazzed up about it being less than a week until we go to Las Vegas.
Yeah, and that's what this episode is all about because it's all we can think about right now.
Absolutely. So we want to thank you guys, everybody that listened to the first episode. Thank you so much. It means a lot to us. Like, we're brand new at this and we're finding our way through it. We're learning from mistakes. If you watched the first one, you could tell we got some different microphones now. So we're trying to kind of play around with some things and make sure that the sound is the best it can be and that we're doing everything we can to make it the best listening experience for you guys, including working on our content and everything like that. So if there's anything that you all want to hear, on the podcast, message us. We'd love to know what you guys want to hear and what we should talk about.
Right, and I want to promise too that this isn't just going to be us talking every time. We do plan to have guests on. We're definitely going to record some podcasts while we're in Vegas, so be looking out for those. If you have someone that you want to hear on this podcast, shoot us a message and let us know.
Absolutely. So without further delay, we're going to get right into it. So like Rachel was saying, this episode is all about Vegas, and this is our NFR tips and tricks episode of the podcast. So we're going to go through some of the things that we've experienced in the past in Vegas, some of the things we've learned, some shortcuts, some things that you don't want to forget about, as well as events and things that are happening in Vegas that we didn't know really our first trip there. And we want to make sure that everybody that listens to this knows that going in and they can be a veteran on their first trip.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, these are all tips and tricks that we sat down and we were like, these are things we wish we had known going into it. Our first trip, do not do what we do. You can do it, but don't do it. We planned it 3 weeks out. We were like, on a whim, we're going to go for 4 days. What's the worst that could happen? And we did not prepare ourselves well. We did have a fantastic time, but we could have capitalized on our time and our experience there more. This is our Super Bowl of our sport. So we look forward to these 10 days all year long. And even if you're not there 10 days, there's a lot of things you can do to maximize your time in Vegas at the National Finals Rodeo.
Yeah. So one of the things that is not really a secret when you go to Vegas with the NFR is the shopping. Everybody knows there's a ton of shopping, but we're going to run down the main places that you guys want to be sure to check out while you're there. Number one, and it's the biggest one, as a matter of fact, this year it's bigger than ever, they've expanded it, is the Cowboy Christmas at the Las Vegas Convention Center. It's actually used to be in just one section of the convention center, then it moved to 2 stories, and now it's expanded into a whole new section of the convention center.
Right, so it's going to be the both South Halls and now the Central Hall as well. So this one we always dedicate at least a day to, and now that it's expanded, you really probably need a day and a half. And this is a hot tip too. We went the first Saturday last year. I will never do that again.
No, if you're
so many people.
Our advice, and here is one of those tips that we're going to give you guys that we learned from our mistakes. That Saturday is the busiest day at the convention center, and even though it's a massive place, it gets so packed with people that you really can't get around. You can't look at the products.
You couldn't get around other people. You're just, I mean, it's like herding cattle. I mean, literally. So I won't do that again personally. If that's the only day you have to go, you should go. But I know last year that was wild. I just didn't think about it being the first Saturday or anything like that. But we have that on our list to not do it the first Saturday this time. But it's a great show. You're going to see lots of things. They also have the Junior National Finals Rodeo happening upstairs, as well as some food there. So check everything out. We've got some friends there. Make sure you check out Whiskey Designs upstairs. Anyone else you want to talk about that's there?
There's a lot of great people there. That's the main shopping, so there's a lot of people that you're not going to want to miss. Rodeo Vegas, we're working really closely with them this year. We're super excited to be a part of that. Like, if you listen to the last podcast, you've heard us say that I've been a fan of Rodeo Vegas ever since before we even went to the NFR for the first time, and it was not a disappointment when we got to check it out when we were there. They've got a booth there, so if you guys want any of those really awesome blue leather jackets that they've got this year, you see them everywhere every time you go. I've got one, and you're going to be able to get the jackets there. They've got vests, caps, shirts, everything. So you're not going to have any shortage of options for shopping there. And like Rachel mentioned, they have the Junior National Finals upstairs there. Like, that's how big it is, guys. And there's also some other things we're going to tell you about in a few minutes about that you'll be able to check out there. So there's more than just shopping.
Yep.
But one other one that you're going to want to put on your list to check out is going to be Roper Cowboy Marketplace. In previous years, that was at the Mandalay Bay. This year, it's been moved down the strip to the Horseshoe.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see that one. As far as I know, it'll be the same show, same vendors. For the most part, we have friends that are vendors, and they even talked about it last year that they knew that they would be moving. It should be the same setup, but just know, do not go to Mandalay Bay expecting shopping like you've previously seen in the past. That show has moved to the Horseshoe, which was previously known as Bally's.
Yeah, that's a property that has been changed over, like Rachel said, from the Bally's to the Horseshoe. It is really convenient right in the middle of the strip. So if you're staying somewhere around Caesar's Palace or the Mirage or any of those hotels that are out there,
that's all real close.
They're right next door to it. So this is going to be probably the most convenient shopping to the strip now and since years past. And Cowboy Marketplace is from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. And one of our favorites, Greeley Hat Works, is going to be there. So go see Trent Johnson, go see Stephen Hauser. They're going to be in there getting you guys set up with some really awesome hats. I mean, Rachel and I have probably
too many to count.
9 or 10 of
problem.
those. Yeah. But you can buy everything from a hat straight off the rack with them to doing a custom. You can get your head measured. He'll set you up with exactly what you want, all the way from the sweat to the band on the outside, the color of the hat, the body, everything. You can get a fully custom hat with him, and it'll be the best hat you've ever had in your life.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, I'm someone that has a very special shaped head, and I can't really buy a hat out of the box because I have continuous issues with them holding the right shape because of the shape of my head.
Yeah.
Fully custom is the way to go for me.
Yeah. So Cowboy Marketplace at the Horseshoe, 10 to 5. One of our other favorite places to go for any reason is the South Point, and they have the Cinch Western Gift Show at the South Point from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day. And they've got a lot of great shopping out there as well. Got some trailer dealers, got some really cool makers out there.
Fantastic tack selection. That's probably the best tack selection. I got some Rommel reins there last year, some different jewelry. But yeah, that's for tack and horse type things. That's one of my favorite ones to go to is the South Point for sure.
Yeah, and this is where a tip comes in. When you go to the South Point for shopping, you're going to want to know that while you're there, you're going to end up in the arena at South Point, and also going on in the arena at South Point while you're there for shopping is the U.S. team roping.
Yeah, the World
Series.
Series of team roping will be happening. They also have NRS up there and things like that. It's a nice shopping spot because girls, you can shop and walk around and send your hubby in there to sit down and watch some team roping. So you don't have to worry about him. It's not that big, but it's a good spot to hit. Also, you know, there's always lots of things to eat and do at the South Point. We love the South Point.
Yeah, South Point's packed full of some of our favorite restaurants. Like, I would wager to say we'll end up there at least 3 times eating.
Probably, and they're really affordable too. That's the thing, is the food is really good, but if you go to like primarily Prime or the Mexican restaurant there, we had great meals there last year and they weren't outrageously expensive for the quality of food and the portions that were served. I was really impressed.
Yeah, that's a great point. Primarily Prime is one of our all-time favorites in Vegas, and like she said, you're going to get amazing food at the South Point, and it's not expensive. I mean, it's really, really appropriately priced. So plan your day accordingly. When you go to the South Point for the gift show, make sure you got some time to watch some team roping too, because you're not going to want to miss any of that. So after the South Point, the Stetson Country Christmas at the Rio is 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day as well. And the Rio is another one of those spots that's a little bit off the strip. So you're going to probably have to Uber there. There's no monorail to it, and it's not walking distance, which is another thing we're going to end up telling you guys a little about later on the actual tips and tricks section of this podcast.
Yeah, and what's different about this trade show compared to others is you find others are all in one big room. These ones are separated by a hallway into individual rooms, so make sure that you're not missing anything. There are vendors on the left side and the right side of the hallway. Go through all the doors. Make sure you're hitting everybody, because I don't want you to miss anybody when you're there. They've got some good stuff and some great vendors.
Yeah, there's some great vendors tucked back in the corner of some of the places at the Rio for sure, because we've walked through a couple times, and our friend used to have a booth over there, so we would go a couple of the days and we would end up stumbling across something one of the days we totally missed the first time. So you're going to want to really make sure you take your time at these places. And if you're going for just a few days, like Rachel said, and you don't have a full week there, you're going to have to really plan accordingly if you want to see all of these, because there's so much shopping. There's so much stuff packed in every one of these spots.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of different shopping too. Anything from furniture to clothing boutiques to jewelry. I mean, this is where I buy all of my silver and turquoise jewelry because I have the most selection in front of me at the time. Tack, anything and everything you could want. Hats, boots, it's all there. So you need to kind of decide if there's brands that you want to see, find out where they're going to be, figure out where the booth numbers are, go to those shows. Most of the time, like I said, we spend the most time at Cowboy Christmas because it's the largest. Some of these others you could do 2 in one day if you dedicated one whole day to it. And I'm talking get there at 9 a.m. and then, be ready to leave for the rodeo at, 3 p.m. Be wrapping up by 3:30.
Yeah, the South Point and the Rio are probably 2 that you could do in the same day. They're not so expensive.
Well, and you're going to have to Uber to both anyway, so might as well just Uber to one, go from the South Point to the Rio, and then Uber back to your hotel and just knock it out in one day.
Yeah, and check the social media for the people you like. Like, for instance, at the Rio, I don't know if they're there this year, but typically Carrie Kelly's set up there. Mm-hmm. And if you're a Carrie Kelly fan, like a lot of people are, you're going to be able to see their stuff in person, which is a cool thing for us. We're in Tennessee, so not a lot of the makers and vendors that we're fans of can we go and see their products in person until we get to Vegas. So check their Instagrams and Facebooks out, because most of them are going to post where they are, and like she said, even the booth number, and it'll tell you exactly where you can find them. Because when you look overhead or you look on the carpet at most of these convention centers, there's going to be ranges of numbers that tell you what booths are in that section. So you'll be able to find your way around. There's a map right at the front of Cowboy Christmas that has everybody there, and you actually can click on it, see the list, and it'll tell you where they are. So you got the Rio. The Plaza is downtown Las Vegas, and we went last year. Yeah,
it was a challenge to find. Yeah. So it's on the 3rd floor, and it's not the biggest shopping. There were good vendors in there, but it was the smallest shopping of all. I don't know if we'll be back this year. We'll just have to see if we have time. If you have endless time and you want to go shopping there, absolutely go. But know that it's not like when you first enter the door. It's on the 3rd level. It's not the easiest thing to find. But it is there.
Yeah, it's probably going to take you longer to get there and get back to your hotel than it will to actually go through all the vendors there. But I wouldn't shy away from it, because as we found, sometimes you go to those vendors that aren't very busy, and those are some of the best deals you can get. Because if they're not seeing a lot of traffic, they're going to be a little more willing to give you some really attractive prices on stuff.
Oh yeah, I bought 2 pairs of earrings last year there. So
yeah. And brand new this year is Rodeo World at Resorts World. They're going to have shopping too. So we don't have a lot of the details on the exact location in Resorts World, but you're not going to miss it. If you go to Resorts World, they're going to have ads and banners and stuff up to tell you where to go to find that. So that's a new one, and that's exciting because there could be some new people in town.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Last year they had a few vendors set up in the hallway, so I don't know if they have the same setup this year, but we will be over there during the day for another reason that we'll cover in a little bit. But we'll be over there anyway, so definitely check out some shopping there as well.
Yeah. So we're going to move on to another section of things that you're going to want to make sure you don't miss. Add them to your list, and they're a ton of fun. So while you're at Cowboy Christmas, one of the other reasons it's going to take you longer than just to do your shopping is because there's a lot of daytime shows in Las Vegas for the NFR. So you've got these talk shows. They're kind of like Sports Center meets Jay Leno. I'm dating myself saying Jay Leno.
No, I'm sure people will understand the reference.
I'm a little older than Rachel, but we've got a lot of really awesome shows that go on there. At the Cowboy Christmas at the Convention Center, on the Ariat Rodeo Live stage is Live with Lucia.
10:30 every day.
10:30 every day.
That's what we really like. He usually has really good guests. In the past, Anthony's not always been there, I'm sure because of scheduling. So he's had other people host it, and every time we've gone, we've been tickled and enjoyed it because we've learned something, and the hosts are always hilarious.
Yeah, that's one of the funniest shows. It's one of the most fun. It's one of the most entertaining. There's a lot of stuff happening, and he always has a lot of swag to give away, and I don't think this year is going to be any exception to that. So if you're into free stuff, like pretty much all of us are, Live with Lucia's one you're going to want to make sure to hit. And also typically, he's got a set of rodeo tickets to give
Oh
away
yeah,
each
he
day.
does. He does give away rodeo tickets. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind too. Also, at all of these shopping areas or host hotels, you're going to see ticket exchange booths. We'll talk about that a little bit more too when it comes to talking about don't get scammed. But those are places that are safe to buy tickets or win tickets.
Yeah, we could go ahead and dive in just a little bit, like she was saying. That's going to be one of our hacks. One of our tips later on is to make sure that you're getting tickets in a great place. And one of the tips is these shows. Well, almost all of them, not every one of them, but almost all of them are going to have a set of tickets they give away pretty much every day. Yeah. So if you go and you get there ahead of time and you sit in there and you hang around just a few minutes after, during that time frame, you're probably going to get an opportunity to get some free stuff, and it might even be NFR tickets.
Right. So just don't discount it. Don't just walk past the shows going on. Sit down, take a second, get your feet up because you will be walking a whole lot.
Yeah, actually that's another great tip there. These shows give you an awesome break from the shopping because you get to sit down, you get to relax, watch a little show, and typically they're 30 minutes to an hour depending on what show it is. So that's about a perfect time break to get a little bit of blood
Drink
back
some
in those
water.
legs.
Yes.
Yeah, grab a drink. There's no shortage of bars. There's no shortage of places to get drinks in any of the convention centers. So grab your drink, sit down, and enjoy the show. The other show that we're going to talk about on the Ariat Rodeo Live stage is after the Live with Lucia, you've got Conserving Country with Brandon Bates and Shane Miner. And if you know anything about bull riding in the last decade, you know who Brandon Bates is. He's one of the best announcers we've seen in the PBR, and he's a great host for a show. So I'm sure his show is going to be fantastic with Shane Miner. They typically have a lot of country artists on these, a lot of music in this one. So if you're into that, this is going to be one you want to add to your list as well.
Yeah, and that's going to be 11:30 to 12:30 a.m. on that Ariat Rodeo Live stage, same place as Live with Lucia.
And another staple, they typically call this the original NFR show, is Outside the Barrel with Flint Rasmussen. That is also on that Ariat Rodeo Live stage, which last year I believe was downstairs. This year it sounds like it's going to be upstairs on the second floor.
I haven't seen that confirmed yet with a map, but we'll see. It's usually in the back of the convention center, usually on the first floor, could be on the second floor. Here's the deal, you're not going to miss it. It's giant.
It's easy to find. You won't miss it. That show speaks for itself. If you know who Flint is, and if you're a rodeo fan, you definitely know who he is. He puts on an outstanding show. Typically, his guests are fantastic. Almost always has at least a couple of competitors that are qualifiers that will be competing that night. Typically has somebody else in the rodeo world, and usually has some kind of musical guest that has a lot of
he usually has like
with
3 guests a show. And they're really well organized. They're very entertaining. You cannot go wrong with this one.
Yeah, another one that does prizes and gives away some stuff, so that's a great one. And then one of our favorites that is a little less of a grand stage setup, but nonetheless is going to be one of the most entertaining things you watch through your whole time in Las Vegas, and that's Rump Chat Live. They'll be at the Cinch booth every day at 11 a.m., and they'll be right next to the mechanical bull riding contest. So go on up there and hop on a bull, see if you can win a prize there. If you can't hang out with Rump Chat, let them make fun of you afterwards.
Oh my gosh, they're going to be recording their podcast live. So they're going to have rodeo competitors, all kinds of fun guests. You never know who's going to show up there, and they're going to make you laugh. So
yeah, and you never know what you're going to get.
No,
at Rump Chat
true.
Either. So if you've never listened to their podcast, give it a listen. There's a lot of great episodes out, and you can get fully pumped and prepped for NFR and listen to that from now until the time you go to Vegas. So switching it up a little bit, they also have the Cowboy Channel stage, and I think that might be the one that's downstairs. We're not entirely sure, but like we said, they're not going to be hard to find. But they're going to start off, and they'll have 1 p.m. to 1:30 each day is Zero In, and that's a show that is actually on the Cowboy Channel. They kind of do recaps and rundowns of what's happening in the rodeo world, so I'm sure they're going to be really focused on the perfs who performed well the night before and what's coming up, who's got what draws. So if you're really one of those stat people and you like to know exactly what's happening, where they're at in the standings, and who the draw is and everything like that, this is going to be the show for you. They're going to go through a lot of that stuff. Another show that is new to Vegas this year, and I don't know much about it, but just by the title I think I'm going to be interested in it, is the Rodeo Deep Dive Panels. Like I said, don't know a lot of information on that one, but that one's going to be 1:30 to 2. So it sounds like the Cowboy Channel stage, you got a stack lineup too. Like the other one would, but that 1:30 to 2 p.m. The NFR tailgate on that same stage from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. That's usually a pretty fun show. They do a lot of personality stuff, get a lot of people up there that are big time personalities in the rodeo world, and that one's a lot of fun too. So all of that we just mentioned is going to be happening at the Cowboy Christmas at the Las Vegas Convention Center. So there's a lot of stuff going on there outside of just the shopping. Don't want to miss any of it.
No, definitely not. You want to mark these down. Like I said, and this is a nice opportunity too for you girls that your husband does not want to be dragged around the convention center shopping with you. Jordan is very gracious and does that with me, but he's a shopper too, so that's a problem for our bank account. But if your husband does not want to do that, your boyfriend, whoever, go sit him down at one of these shows, put a drink in his hand. You won't have to worry about him the rest of the day. You go shop, girl.
Yeah, especially that rump chat one. Drop him off there. Even after the show's over, he's going to be hanging out talking to everybody. So
right.
It's not going to be a problem. So you got your daytime stuff. You move through all that. You go home, go to the hotel, go to the Airbnb, take a nap.
Yeah, that's going to be later on too. We're going to talk more about the tips. Yeah, grab some lunch because at this point you've shopped from 9 a.m. to potentially 3 p.m. and you may or may not have had any kind of food. So
yes,
grab something to eat, change into your nighttime outfit. If you're a girl and you're planning to do that, even if you're a guy and you're going to jazz up your outfit for the night, go do that. And then get ready for some watch parties or to head to the Thomas and Mack. So what kind of watch parties can you expect and which ones do we love?
So we like a lot of them, but as I said earlier in the podcast, my all-time favorite is Rodeo Vegas. It's been in the Mirage previous years. This year it's moved to the Resorts World, and we're very excited about that. If you heard the other podcast that we did, that property is really nice, like super nice,
Super
brand new.
luxury. It's actually 3 hotels within the same resort, and the bottom one is still very luxurious, and it just goes up from there.
Yeah, it's a really cool spot to hang out in, period. They got a lot of restaurants. They've got a lot of space for the casino floor, which is a really cool thing for a lot of people because some of them can be a little crowded, but this one's pretty spacious, so you don't feel cramped. It's a really enjoyable place to hang out. And the BFO watch party, so the Bullfighters Only are actually the sponsor of the watch party that's happening at the Resorts World, and it's in the Doghouse, which is basically their big sports bar. It's not their sports book, but it's a sports bar, and it's a really neat place to hang out. That one's going to be hosted with Corey Keith, and that watch party is also one, I think, where they give away some prizes and stuff too. So it's not just the daytime stage shows that you can win some stuff, but the watch party.
Yeah, we showed up to this watch party last year and won a pair of tickets to the NFR and basically had to run, and we missed bareback, but we made it. We had the worst Uber experience, one of the worst Uber experiences we've ever had, but you know what? We made it to the Thomas and Mack, and we were there, and that was awesome, and we would not have gotten those tickets had we not gone to that watch party to begin with. So you never know what can happen.
Yeah, shout out Matt West for those. He was the guy that hooked us up with those, and he's a great guy as well. We're sad we're not going to see him, I don't think, anywhere in Vegas this year for a watch party, but you never know if you're going to run into him or not. But great guy. We're big fans of Matt. Another Matt we're also really big fans of is Matt Merritt. Also, we're the Southeastern Cowboy Network because we're based in the Southeast. We love to promote and shine a big spotlight on everything in the Southeast rodeo-wise. And Matt Merritt is a North Carolina boy. Yeah,
we love the Merritts. We love Matt. He puts on probably the most entertaining watch party that we've been to. He's super interactive. He's an entertainer through and through. You're going to enjoy it, and he gives away good stuff, real good stuff at his watch party.
Really good stuff. He's moved this year to the Rio, and that is going to be on the casino main stage at the Rio, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's a pretty awesome spot in the middle of the whole casino there to watch that. So if you want to be entertained, because there's really to be honest with you, there's a different vibe to each of these watch parties you go to. They all have their own feel. The person hosting it has a lot to do with that as well. Like she said, we went to Matt's watch party last year, and they were having contests between the events.
Yes.
And they were having guests come up and compete against each other.
They were giving away pairs of boots. Very good prizes. So
Matt made you feel like you're at a rodeo without being at the rodeo.
Yep. Yeah, without paying the price, because that's another thing to note with these watch parties. They're totally free. So if you don't want to spend the money on tickets that night, there are so many watch parties to go to. You can't go wrong. They're free. You're going to be entertained. So what's another one you can tune into?
Well, one tip I'll give you too is if you've never been at all, I encourage you to try your best to get to the Thomas and Mack and just see it, because it's unbeatable experience. But you can go to Las Vegas never step foot in the Thomas and Mack, go to these watch parties and have the time of your life.
Oh, and some people truly do.
Yeah.
For as many people that come to the rodeo and that cannot fit in the Thomas and Mack, some people literally do not go to the rodeo the whole time they're there. Now, like we said, we highly encourage you to, just because I think you need to experience it. That's the whole reason we're there. Yes, we love the outfits, we love the glamour, we love the fun of Vegas, but we are there for the rodeo first and foremost. So we always make it a point to at least go one night. Sometimes we go 2, sometimes we go 3. We've been really lucky in the past, but if not, you can find us at a watch party every night.
So Matt Merritt at the Rio, you don't want to miss him. You don't want to miss Rodeo Vegas. You don't want to miss the Doghouse with the BFO guys. But another one that has really been growing on us in years past is the Westgate Watch Party. And like I said, they all have their own feel, and that comes down a lot to who's hosting it. And there's 2 guys hosting this one that are just, I want to call them a dynamic duo.
That's a great way to put it, I think.
They're the long and short of rodeo. So we've got the Westgate Watch Party, and that one is hosted by Skip Ransom and Guy Bell. And if you don't follow Skip Ransom Notes on Instagram,
you need to.
You need to.
If you enjoy rodeo and you enjoy laughing,
and if
Skip's
you
gonna help you out with that.
Somebody making fun of all the stuff that's funny in rodeo, you're going to want to follow Skip at Ransom Notes.
Yeah.
So Skip is a little bit of a cut up, but Guy Bell is a lot of one. So those 2 guys together are a super entertaining 2 people to have running a watch party. So another one of those watch parties you're going to go to, you're going to laugh a lot, you're going to stay entertained. They're going to give away a lot of prizes too there. I think they give away a saddle. Like there's some really cool stuff there. So go to the Westgate. You're going to check that out over there. They've got, I don't remember what room it is. I think it's the Cabaret Theater, correct?
I believe so, except for when the Cowboys and Indians party is, that's in the ballroom, as far as I understand.
Right,
and
but
we
that's
actually,
after.
it is. It is. But that is one specific night. But we went there last year for that, and we really enjoyed our time. Couldn't say enough good things about it. So that's our experience anyway.
Yeah, we highly recommend that one. Don't want to miss any of these. If you've got time, if you're there all 10 nights,
yeah, bounce around.
And you've got a couple nights of the rodeo tickets, and then you need some watch parties, that's really good, because you're going to be able to hit up every one of these and get a full version of what's offered in Las Vegas during the NFR.
Right, and you're going to find one that you like. I mean, that fits for you, because that's the thing. All these guys are really great. They're fantastic entertainers. They wouldn't be in the line of work that they are if they weren't.
Yeah.
But there's going to be ones that click with you more than others. You might be a location that you like more than others because of food options or, whatever, giveaways. So just find what works for you. You can't go wrong with any of them, though.
No, absolutely not. And we said earlier that Rodeo Vegas is our favorite watch party, and it's been at the Mirage for years. And things move around, things change up, but the Mirage has a really awesome setup in their sportsbook to watch this. They've got a giant screen that goes around the whole sportsbook, and it actually gets split into 2 different ones, and you can see the same perf at any angle. And it's a lot of fun. And this year, because Mirage and Rodeo Vegas are in 2 different places now, they got some new guys hosting this one, and they're no scrubs to the rodeo world either.
No, they're definitely not.
Absolutely not. So Boyd Paulhamus and Jesse Knutson are hosting that one. Those 2 are going to be a good time. I don't know if they've done a watch party together yet, but I think everybody in there is going to really be in for a good time.
Yeah, I feel like they put this one together a little last minute with everything happening at the Mirage. If you don't know, they sold to Hard Rock. This is technically going to be the last year that they're ever known as Mirage. They're going to be getting rid of the iconic volcano, which is pretty sad because we loved the Mirage. That was our go-to place previously. Of course, we really loved the Rodeo Vegas parties, and that was part of it. But we really liked the dining and things like that, too, with their watch party set up. Like Jordan said, it's in the sports book. They had adequate, good seating. You didn't have a bad seat in the place because the screens wrapped around the whole room. So it was just a really good setup. This is something that I think that you should definitely check out while you're there. And these guys are really going to put on a good one, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And this isn't a watch party, but this is tied into those evening events where you're going to watch the rodeo.
Yeah.
But if you are going to the perf at the Thomas and Mack, Get there early. There's some really exciting stuff that goes on right out front in that plaza before you go into the Thomas and Mack, and we highly recommend getting over there to check that out.
Yeah, there's so much to do. Like there's little stage shows, all kinds of different vendors. I think Purina's set up outside, and then they also have the Coors banquet tent.
Yeah, so they got everybody out there from Heston to Polaris, and like she said, they got some stage shows there. They've had Dale Brisby doing some shows in the past. He'll bring people up on stage. They'll play some games. They've had a 4-person panel before, and really awesome names like Luke Branquino and people who know what's going on in the rodeo and can really give you insights into it, where it's stuff that you don't know what's going on with competitors, and they can kind of break that news to you on that stage right before the perf kicks off. But like Rachel said, the Coors banquet tent is a big party.
Yeah, that's the spot to be before and after the rodeo, really.
Absolutely. So you're waiting to go in, or when you're done and you're waiting on your shuttle, you can pass a lot of time by hanging out at the Coors banquet tent. It's totally free to get in. You can't miss it. When you're walking in, you're going to see this thing, and it's going to be heard and seen from a long ways away because there's a huge party happening in there. And they've got everything from a live DJ to a mechanical bull that you get a shirt for riding, by the way.
It's free.
And one of the reasons that place is so rocking and so entertaining is because one of the guys helping host that thing is Disco Dalton Morris. If you don't know him, look him up.
Yeah, you got to see him. He's super entertaining.
This guy is a hoot, man. He is so much talent. Trick roper, barrel man, PRCA rodeo clown, and he keeps it pumping. Like the energy level in that may be one of the top in the whole city while we're there for that.
Oh, for sure. No, it's a great spot to hit, and the tent is warm. There's going to be food. There's going to be drinks, dancing, all the things you could want, plus the mechanical bull, music that's good and bumping. Like, you can't beat it. You do need to check it out before or after the rodeo, heck, both.
Yes, and it's a great way to pass time, because when you come out, if you're doing the shuttles, which we're going to tell you a little bit about here in a minute, if you're doing the shuttles, there's always a big line, and we recommend going in and hanging out and killing 20-30 minutes in there in the Coors tent, and then when you're done there and you step outside and you get on the next shuttle ready to go.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
That is maximizing your experience and your time in Vegas.
110%. Plus, when you get there early, they're going to have a set of yellow bucking chutes outside you can take a picture in front of, get all the photo ops. That's the things that you need to do. You want to remember your time in Vegas. Definitely take the pictures.
Absolutely, guys. That's the stuff that we're talking about right now is all going to be about making memories.
100%.
And you're going to take a lot of this away with you. Take pictures while you're there. There's a ton of really awesome places to do that. There's a lot of great opportunities to meet the athletes, to meet the cowboys and cowgirls, meet the people that you're big fans of, whether it be announcers or even sound guys. We're some fans of the sound guys too, and most of them have personalities. So you're going to get to meet a lot of people. You're going to be able to do a lot of things. Take pictures. Take some memories home with you. We're going to move on. So once you've been to the shopping, and then you go to a watch party, or you go to the perf and the rodeo's over, the night is absolutely not even close to being done.
No, they're just getting started, which is really tough on us when we are on Eastern time and we go to Pacific time. But you know what? We take a nap and make it happen.
It's so worth it, guys.
It's so worth it. You can't miss it.
It's 10 days. If you can't make it 10 days without a little bit of rest, then you rest when you get home.
That's what we do anyway.
Absolutely, because when we get done, we're cranking it up with these concerts.
Yeah, we love it. We go to more concerts for less money in Vegas than we do all year round, because most of them are free.
Yeah. There are some that are ticketed, and you'll know about those in advance. They'll advertise those everywhere, but the ones that are free are awesome.
Yeah, I mean, they're all artists we're interested in. Western country, Texas country. There's going to be an artist for you. You can even get on, which we'll talk about a little bit more later, the NFR app, and you can search by artist and see if your favorite artist is gonna be there, and it'll tell you where, when, if it's ticketed or not. So
Yes. So we're going to go down the main venues for these concerts because there's way too many concerts for us to mention them all to you. This podcast would be an hour and a half long just to get through all of them. But we're going to tell you the spots where they're going to have concerts every single night, and they're going to be really good artists and a really awesome place to watch from. And as you can expect, we're going to start off with Rodeo Vegas at Resorts World. These guys are moved into this brand new venue. The place that they're going to be having their concerts is beautiful. I mean, this spot is going to be really, really great fit for all these concerts. And as Rachel was saying, and I don't want to skip over, being from Tennessee, we're not able to see a lot of the artists that are from Texas and out west and things like that. So this is a great opportunity for us to see them in person because they don't get our way very often. So if you're from anywhere east of the Mississippi like we are,
you're going to get the time to capitalize.
Yes, you're going to get the opportunity to see a lot of these artists that you don't get to see any other time unless you live near Nashville.
Yep.
100%. So Rodeo Vegas at Resorts World, they're hosting their concerts there each night. Two of the ones that are really noteworthy that I want to mention are at the very end of the week, Jenna Paulette.
Yeah, I'm so mad we're not going to be there.
Yes.
Like really, really bummed because we just love Jenna. But if you are there the 16th, I believe it is.
I think so.
You have to be there. That is one you cannot miss.
Yeah, we love Jenna. We got to see her a few times here and there. We actually got to go at Cowboy Christmas last year, and I think it was the Boot Barn booth, and we were there for a silent disco to listen to her album before it was actually released to the public.
Yeah, it was so fun.
That was a really neat experience, and there are a lot of opportunities to do stuff like that. Just keep your eyes out. A lot of this stuff they don't talk about in advance. You find out while you're there. You go by the booth, and they've got signage up to tell you exactly what's coming that day, and you might see that one of your favorite people to see, even a country artist, is going to be there signing autographs or something. So just keep an eye out while you're there at the convention center for that kind of stuff.
For sure.
Like we were saying, Resorts World, we love that. They're going to have some really, really awesome concerts there. The South Point is a really awesome place to see these concerts, and the cool thing about the South Point is that they don't have a different artist every single night. When you go to watch these rodeos and the perf is over, what typically happens is everybody heads straight to the bar. They go wherever the casino is that they're going to go see their concert. The South Point's a little different.
Yeah, and I really encourage you to see this because you need to go see it at some point. But initially, they change over from the watch party to set up for the gold buckle ceremony to give buckles to the round winners that night. And they do that live, and you can be a part of that. It's totally free to enter. And you should see it. It's something you should experience.
Yeah, and I highly recommend getting there early because they will fill up.
Yes,
those people
they do.
Pack in there in the ballroom at the South Point. And you're going to get to see each night, you get to see all the round winners. They bring up their families and everybody that's helped them get where they are. They interview them. They move through all the round winners, show their winning ride or run. And that's a ton of fun. That's a really neat thing to see. And then when they wrap that up, they do another changeover in the same spot. You don't have to leave. And then they kick it off with their concerts. And like I was saying, they do theirs a little different. So typically what's going to happen is they're going to have an artist come in and he's going to play 3 consecutive nights. So if you want to see one of them, they're the most flexible way to do it. So
yeah, it's great because you don't miss them if you miss them that night.
Yeah.
And it's something we'll talk about later, but you're going to have so many options that you can't see them all. So you have to prioritize who you want to see. But the South Point makes it nice because even if you plan your other nights full, you can still make one night to see that artist that was there for 3 nights. So it's kind of nice that it keeps you flexible.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, the South Point seems to continually have artists that we really want to see.
Oh, yeah.
Like this year, Aaron Watson, we see him every year because that's one of the spots we know we're going to get to see him. We may not see him in Tennessee at all or anywhere around us, but we know when we go to Vegas, we're going to have an opportunity to see him. The other one that I'm super jacked about and we love to see, and believe it or not, we did get to see him in Tennessee for the first time.
Yeah, first time.
Just last weekend, but that's Chancey Williams. Those guys are everything cool about rodeo. Like,
oh, yeah.
Old saddle bronc rider, they're all cowboy. Like they get in there and they bring the heat, they bring the party, and that place will be rocking until 1 in the morning, and you couldn't be happier about it.
Yeah, no, I love it. We love them. Those are 2 that we will absolutely make time to see this year. And it's kind of cool too because these concerts start later because of the buckle ceremony. So you could go to a concert for one of the other guys and cut out and probably make it to the later concert at the South Point because I don't think they start till 10:30 p.m.
They start late, and as a matter of fact, little insight on our plans, we will be doing that. So
yeah, that's in our plans. So we'll catch 2 artists in one night.
Yeah, 2 concerts in one night.
Yeah,
Rodeo,
we can't beat it.
Watch party, 2 concerts. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. I'm here for it.
So one of the other places that you guys are going to want to look up the lineup for because it's stacked as well.
So many artists, and they've got them playing in different spots too. So they'll have like sometimes 2 and 3 a night. The Westgate.
Yep, Westgate Resorts. Go over there, check out the watch party. Then when the watch party's over, move on into the concerts there. And the thing to do is if you want to go to see some of these watch parties and you know that there's an artist that's playing later that night, you may just want to go ahead and do your watch party there that night so you don't have to move around, because as we were talking about with the South Point, one of the things that you're going to run into is once that party wraps up and the perf is ended for the night, especially on some of these bigger name artists, that place is going to start getting really packed really quick because everybody's going to start showing up. So if you are really interested in an artist, I encourage you to get there early or to go to the watch party and just stay there for the concert, because that's going to give you the best opportunity to get a good placement. A lot of these venues are not very big, which is really awesome because you get up close, you get a really kind of unique
intimate
experience.
Feel.
Super
I
intimate,
love it.
yeah. But then the drawback to that is there's not as much room for people, so you end up, being kind of crowded at times. But for a free concert in Vegas, it's
you can't beat it.
No, you can't beat it. So there's the Westgate, then there's the Rodeo After Party at the Mirage. They're going to have a lot of great concerts this year. Mandalay Bay this year has really stepped it up. Now, I will say some of the concerts at Mandalay Bay are ticketed.
Yeah.
But they do have a full lineup that are free that are really bringing it. I mean, there's some
their
really good ones.
mainstays at NFR, like Casey Donahue Band, Josh Abbott Band, classic Texas artists that we expect to see in Vegas.
Yeah, there's really 3 artists that every single year I think of when I think of the NFR, and that's Aaron Watson, Casey Donahue, and Chancey Williams. And all 3 of them will be here again this year.
we get to see them. So.
That's right, yeah. So there's plenty of that stuff to do, guys. There's unlimited supply of entertainment during the NFR. So we kind of did the rundown of a day in Vegas for most people that are attending the NFR. We've kind of hit the highlights. We've told you guys about the places you want to shop, the places you want to watch, and the places you want to enjoy those concerts. So now we're going to kind of share a few things with y'all that we're calling our tips and tricks. And some of the stuff you may know, some of you may have heard before, but some of it you may have never really thought of. And it's just, out of sight, out of mind. If you've never done it, you never know it. So we're going to share some of that with you.
Yeah, the first one is about the NFR app that I mentioned before. Now there's 2 apps you can really download. You can either search for NFR or you can, I have both downloaded. You can search the Cowgirl Hot List app that's put out by Cowgirl Magazine. Both of these will let you build your own schedule in the app. It'll tell you everything that's happening, broken down from the concerts, the shopping, where it's happening, when it's happening, all of the things. It's a whole schedule, and you can build your own schedule. So if you want to prioritize what you want to see and want to make sure you don't miss it, that's a great way to do it. And the NFR app will actually send you push notifications if anything changes on the schedule as well. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really user-friendly, and it's really simple to find. You just go to the App Store and you look up NFR app, and it will pop up there. It'll have the NFR logo. Just download that. It'll tell you about all the stuff going on during the day. It tells you the full schedule of all of these daytime shows at Cowboy Christmas, as well as most of the concerts in town.
Everything we mentioned will be on there. So if this was too much to digest or you're driving, if something stuck out to you, literally in the NFR app, you can search it or search by a person or an artist, and it'll bring up everything they're doing the whole week.
Yep, highly recommend getting that. That'll help you kind of keep your week straight at the NFR. Another thing that we're going to kind of share from you, and we learned this, so we've watched a lot of videos from people who live in Las Vegas and are really in tune with how to get around Vegas, whether it be the NFR or any other time of year. But one of the things that we've consistently seen, and we've never tried it ourselves, but we recommend for you guys to do, because we've heard from multiple people that it works.
Almost every Vegas vlogger talks about this trick.
Absolutely, and it's called the $20 trick. So when you go to check in at your hotel and you go to hand them your credit card and your driver's license, you put a $20 bill in there between your driver's license and your credit card, and as you hand it to them, you say, hey, I'm curious if there are any upgrades. I'd love to get an upgrade if there are any available. And if there are, they're going to know what you're talking about. They're going to keep that 20, and then they're going to hook you up. And if there aren't any available, typically they're just going to hand that 20 back and say, I'm sorry, we don't have anything available right now to upgrade you to. But it's worth trying. For $20, guys, if you can get upgraded rooms or get a better view, a higher floor, possibly even switch into a suite, then you're going to really be thankful that you pulled that 20 out, and it'll be well worth it in the long run. So one of the other things that you want to make sure you do right at check-in, and this is something Rachel and I have failed to do every single year.
Yeah, we're changing this. Fifth NFR, we are going to change the tides and start getting some points racked up so we can stay at places we want to stay at.
Absolutely. So the tip here is to get the player's card. So when you go to your hotel, typically you're going to be at a Caesars location or an MGM property, because most of them are going to own a group of hotels. So depending on where you're staying, you're going to probably belong to one of those. There are a few other ones, but those are the two big ones. So when you go in, before you even check in, go up to the player's desk and sign up for your card. It's totally free to do. All they do is give you a card, and it attaches your name to that card. When you go to check in, give them that. That way you're getting the points. Anytime you gamble, put that player's card in the machine. You're going to get points as you're doing that. Anytime you're ordering drinks or buying food, the kind of trick there is go ahead and charge it to your room, and then you're getting credit on that player's card for every dollar you're spending in that hotel. And then that's going to end up with offers for free stays. It's going to give you comp
it's going to give you dining points, all kinds of free things that you're going to want. So you can only charge it to your room if you're staying there, obviously. But even if you're in other hotels and you're gambling in other casinos or buying drinks or dinner in other casinos, use that player card because it'll add up.
Yeah, as long as you're at any MGM property, for instance, and you're using that card, it'll do that. Even if you're not staying at the hotel and let's say you're staying at an MGM property and you're going to the Caesars to eat or to gamble or something like that, stop off before you start spending money there, get a player's card there as well, because the very same thing will happen there, and then you'll be getting offers from multiple different hotels and you'll have choices. So that's an exciting thing that you are going to want to get set up right when you get there before you even hit any of the floor or the check-in desk. That way you're getting to take advantage of every dime you're spending while you're in Vegas, because it's not cheap.
No, it adds up fast, especially when you talk about doing Uber rides everywhere, which is our next topic, travel. Ubers can be cheap and they can be very expensive. Just so you know, this is, like I said, our 5th NFR. Usually an Uber from the airport to your hotel is anywhere from $35 to $40. And it's also going to be anywhere from $40 or more around rodeo time if you're going to Uber. So my suggestion is not to Uber around rodeo time. But if you are going places around the strip or during the day, usually an Uber ride is only about $13. So it's pretty affordable during the day, but around peak times like rodeo, or if you're going from the airport to your hotel, that one's usually a little more pricey. So just keep that in mind when you're doing those things. Ubers are great though, because you get to decide yes or no on the rate ahead of time. Cabs, you kind of risk that where you don't know how much it's going to cost. And another tip is have Lyft and Uber on both apps on your phone, so that if Uber is higher or Lyft is higher, you can compare prices and go with one or the other. Typically the drivers do both, so it's not like you're going to get one better driver with the other. So keep that in mind too.
Yeah, price shop a little bit. We do that often. We've done that quite a few times. And like she said, the prices do fluctuate, and there are peak times, just like there are anywhere else if you're on vacation or if you're at a big event. When the event's going on or ending, that's when prices are going to go up, and that's no exception for Las Vegas. And one of the things to kind of circumvent that and get around it is to take the shuttles. So there are host hotels all across Las Vegas. Most of the ones you're going to be staying in on the Strip are going to be a host hotel, which means they're going to have a totally free shuttle that will pick you up right at your hotel's front door, take you right to the front door of the Thompson Mac, bypass all of the walking, drop you off at that area that we were talking about earlier with all the fun stuff, and then they'll pick you up from that very same spot, bring you right back to your hotel. Or, like we've done in the past when we've been staying at the Mirage, but we were going to the South Point for the buckle ceremony, you can get on the South Point shuttle and it'll take you to the South Point. And then instead of having to Uber from your hotel to the South Point, you just got a free ride all the way there, which is a little bit out there, so that ride is typically a little more expensive.
Right, or if, like we stayed at the Link last year, the Link does not have a shuttle dedicated to them. We just walked across the street to the Mirage and we rode that shuttle. No one's ever checking should you be on this shuttle? No, that's not a thing that happens. So
totally
you can ride any of the shuttles that are easy for you to go to, but they are free. But make sure you get there early, because you can't control the traffic around rodeo time, and it just gets a little crazy.
Yeah, and this year is really probably going to be magnified, because they just had the Formula One race, and we've been following that a little bit. So the traffic patterns have been really messed up since the Formula One, and that's over now, and they're tearing everything down, but it's not down yet. So they are still dealing with some traffic issues that are slowing things down. So this year more than ever, you're going to want to make sure that if you're planning to go somewhere and you need to be there by a certain time, you're going to need to leave early. You're going to plan ahead, and be sure to order your Uber in advance if you know what time you need to leave to be there, and that'll help you guys stay on schedule to get there on time.
Yeah, and it locks you in at a certain rate. So it's good and bad. If it looks really expensive, don't schedule it ahead of time. If it looks cheaper, like if you see one around rodeo time and it's $30 or less, schedule it. Like, go ahead and schedule it if that's what you want to do. They do have a whole separate Uber line for the Thomas and Mack, but that's a whole nother can of worms too. We just really prefer the shuttles because it's straight in, straight out. It's very obvious what shuttle is going where. The queue lines are not bad. They can fit how many? 52 of you on one shuttle?
Yeah, and when those shuttles are moving, they're getting priority. They're stopping traffic for those to get through, not for the Ubers.
Right.
So we're not saying don't take an Uber. We're just saying be smart. Use the free stuff that's provided and in place for you on purpose.
You're going to need it for other things, like if you're going to go shopping at the Rio or go shopping downtown at the Plaza, you're going to have to take an Uber to those places. So use your Uber money for those times.
Yeah, two of the other ways to get around that we highly recommend are if you're going to be moving anywhere around the Strip, all the way from one end to the convention center, the monorail is a really simple and cheap way to get all over the city. You can buy a one-ride pass, you can buy a day pass, or you can buy, I think,
multi-day passes. You can do 3, you can do 5, I think you can do 7. They all vary in price based on that, but it's not very expensive. I think usually we do like a 3-day pass. And it's like $26 or something, but that's, I mean, that you would spend more than that in Uber rides, so it's fair.
And that's unlimited. Also, in addition to the monorail, there's a lot of hotels that are connected in Las Vegas. So when you go into your hotel, be sure to look around, check that out ahead of time, and you may be able to get from 2 to 3 hotels down by taking the totally free monorail that's built into the hotel system. And that's a really handy thing because there's a lot of places that you're going to look in Vegas and think, okay, that's just 1 or 2 resorts down, we can walk.
Yeah, guys, you can see it, so you think you can walk to it. Let me tell you right now, you cannot and you should not walk to it.
It's so much farther than it looks.
Yeah, because everything's giant there and it's flat. We come from, hill country. Yeah. So if we thought initially our first year, if we could see it, we could walk to it. And I'm here to tell you, even just walking through one casino, it's, acres and acres big. So you just keep that in mind. You're going to be doing a lot of walking. We average like anywhere from 15,000 to 20,000 steps a day in Vegas.
Yeah, you're going to get your steps in. So we got the shuttle, we got the monorail, and then something that we haven't tried but I've wanted to, and I'm so excited to do that this year because we're going to be spending a whole lot of time at Resorts World, is the Tesla tunnel. So I drive a 3500 Cummins. It's not for the environment necessarily that I'm interested in this. I just think it's a really cool concept. But you can take a Tesla tunnel from Resorts World directly to the convention center for all your Cowboy Christmas shopping, for those daytime shows, for all the really cool stuff happening over there, and you never even get above ground on those.
Yeah, it goes under the Vegas streets. There's no traffic lights. There's no traffic. You got to use the Tesla tunnel. When I Googled it, it was like $1.50 for a $1.50 for a one-way ride, or $2.50 for a day pass. So that's outrageously cheap. You got to do that.
It's so cool, and it's really neat. It's really fast, and it's really cheap. So you can't really go wrong there. So there's a lot of ways to get around in Vegas. You're going to do whatever fits you. We know that. Just try to remember to do the free stuff or do the inexpensive stuff or do the convenient stuff because it's all just in a little bit of strategy. The daytime shows that we talked about earlier, that's also one of our tips, tricks, and hacks. We talked about the tickets, and getting those tickets for free are by far the best way to get them.
By far the best way. It's, a chance, a little gamble there, like being in Vegas. But we have actually won tickets a few times. Yeah. So that's been really beneficial to us because now that I've sat on the lower concourse at the Thomas and Mack, I'm very spoiled and I don't like to sit in the upper concourse. And you know how much those tickets cost? A whole lot more.
Yeah, they're not cheap. I don't think anybody would say they're cheap.
No.
But there's a ton of prizes. There's a ton of really cool stuff to check out during that. And then one of the other things that we want to really make sure everybody hears about this is when you're buying tickets in Las Vegas, be very, very careful. This year, more than ever, they're dealing with a lot of scammers, a lot of scalpers that don't have real tickets, a lot of counterfeits. So we really don't want anybody to be taken advantage of. So be extremely cautious. If you are buying tickets and the deal seems too good to be true, guys, it probably is.
Yeah, 100%. I just, you know, you can't trust people. When we buy tickets, we purely buy them from StubHub, who is the official reseller, or we buy them from the ticket resale booths at the host hotels or at the convention center. Yeah, I just don't trust people unless you physically know the person, or you know someone that can vouch for that person. You hear of people getting scammed a lot on tickets, and even if you post on Facebook today, what's the first thing that happens? All these random people start saying, I have tickets, when they're all just scammers. So be very, very leery of that.
Yeah, and like she mentioned, there are ticket exchanges, official ticket exchanges, and if you're buying tickets from those, you know they're certified tickets, they're real tickets, and you're not getting ripped off. I don't know all of the locations of those. In the past, there was one at the Mandalay Bay that we've seen every time. I know MGM has had them in the past. A lot of the host hotels have those set up in their lobbies. Go into the desk there and ask if they have one. Most of the time, they're going to know if they do and where it is. They're probably going to have those booths at the Horseshoe and all the host hotels. You can go in, talk to your front desk agent there. If they have them, they're probably going to know exactly where it is and be able to direct you to it.
Yep. And another thing to keep in mind when you're walking on the Strip, do not take anything from anyone. I don't care if it's a CD, I don't care if it's a card, I don't care what it is. Don't take anything from anyone. Anyone dressed up as a character is going to expect a tip from you if you are interacting with them or taking a picture with them. Keep that in mind. There are Vegas street performer type people everywhere, whether it's on Fremont or on the Strip. Just be leery of it. They're out there to make money off of you, whether you realize that or not. They'll literally say, no, free CD, and then try to con you out of $50. It happened to us last year.
Yeah, and they're going to try to make you feel guilty for not taking it. Just say no thanks. No thanks,
or it's call you a racist. So, because that happened.
Yeah.
So just be leery of scammers. They are out to get money. They're not out to cut up with you.
Yeah, if you want to take pictures with them, you are absolutely okay to do that. Just know that they're going to tell you how much they want for a tip after that, and you're going to have to pay that. Or they're going to
make a big deal of it.
So, like you said, just be leery of that stuff. You know, be smart, be aware of your surroundings, and then while you're walking around in there, it is the desert.
Yeah, and it's going to dry you up like a little shriveled raisin if you do not drink enough water.
Yeah, because most of you are going to be drinking a lot anyway. Make sure you're hydrating. We take Liquid IV with us every single year, and we go through a whole pack of that while we're there. Just because when you're walking around like that, you're getting dehydrated, and then on top of that, it's the desert, so it dries you up anyway. So think and plan ahead. Get plenty of water.
We also buy packs of water at like Walgreens or CVS as opposed to trying to buy a bottle of water in the hotel or use the hotel water bottles that are in the room because they cost $3 trillion. Don't bother doing that. Go to Walgreens, go to CVS. We're staying at Treasure Island and they have a CVS downstairs. We will buy packs of water to keep in the room.
And also, just because it's the desert doesn't mean it's hot. It's typically pretty chilly at night in Vegas.
Yeah, and if you've not checked the forecast for this year, it's chillier than normal. Yeah. So typically you have about 70-degree days, 55 or so degree nights. This year it looks like the highs are barely going to get into the 60s.
Yeah, so it's going to be a chilly NFR. So make sure you're packing jackets. Head over to the Rodeo Vegas booth at Cowboy Christmas. Day one, grab your leather Rodeo Vegas jacket. They're super warm. It's going to be a really nice thing to have when it gets down into the 50s.
And it's going to look cool with your outfit.
Absolutely.
It won't clash with, pretty much anything.
I'm a blue fan. It goes with everything.
Right.
So chilly nights, pack some jackets. Make time for your meals. We get very busy in Vegas. We're hitting up all the stuff that we've told you guys about. There's food at the convention center. Upstairs is kind of a food court. There's a little better food section up there.
Yeah, the wraps. If the wrap people are there again this year, we will be eating the wraps again. Those were very good.
Look for the line. The food with the line is the one you want. Downstairs, you're going to have like the normal convention center food put on by the convention center, and it's really just cafeteria stuff. You don't avoid that. Go upstairs, go to the food court, hit up the wrap people. That's another hack for you there. We like them a lot. But just remember to eat. Remember to find a time to eat because you'll get You'll get busy, you'll lose track of time, and you need to eat while you're there. You need to drink and just take care of yourself.
Right.
Stay healthy.
A big goal of ours this year is to actually sit down and have a solid breakfast every year, because we do a really bad job of eating and making time to eat and being consistent with our meals. And you're doing a lot of walking and a lot of moving and a lot of staying up late. So you need to fuel your body. So a big goal of ours this year is to have solid breakfast, because it's really hard too, since they moved the rodeo up, which is great for us East Coasters watching the rodeo, but it's at an awkward time. It starts at 5:45. You sit through the Thomas and Mack for a 2-hour perf, you get out at 8, then the concerts, and then there's like no time for dinner. There's not a real time for dinner. So we're going to try and have like a solid breakfast and then eat again at like 3:34 while we're getting ready for the rodeo, and then go on about our night. And if we want some late night food, we'll hit up In-N-Out, you know? So that's one thing we definitely want to focus on for ourselves this year.
Yeah, and we usually try to hit up a couple of the really good spots. Like we really enjoy Otoro. We mentioned Primarily
so
Prime at the South Point. All of these nicer sit-down restaurants, you need a reservation for, because everyone in town is trying to get to them at the exact same time. Everyone wants to eat before or right after the perf. So if you're trying to get dinner at anywhere decent in Las Vegas, plan ahead. Reserve it in advance. You probably need to not do it even the day of. You probably need to do it a day or two in advance, if not sooner, or you're not going to get in. And we want to make sure that you guys are getting in, experiencing Vegas in a really good way, and the food there is phenomenal. So don't miss out on that.
There's any and every kind of food that you could possibly want in Vegas. Your trip can be as expensive or as little money spent on food as you want, but I really encourage you to go out, have a nice meal. Heck, put your reservation right at 5. Eat your dinner right when they open, and then go to the watch party at the same hotel.
Yeah, and then if you guys are staying up too late and you do feel bad, there's a brand new thing this week or this year that you're going to be able to kind of refuel, and that's at Rodeo Vegas Rehab.
I am so excited about this. Rodeo Vegas, they're honestly geniuses for this, because Jordan and I talk about every year we're like, we should stop and go to the spa and take a spa day and get a massage. And guess what? We never do. Because we don't want to leave the action. We don't want to take the time to call and figure out how much it costs. And Lord knows how much it costs at a spa in Vegas. So Rodeo Rehab has hooked us up with the most convenient thing possible. And you're still going to be in the action. You're going to get to rewatch the rodeo if you happen to miss it the night before. They're going to have massages. They're going to have boot shining. They're going to have hat shaping. They're going to have roping dummies. And most importantly to me, they're going to have a dry bar, and I cannot express my excitement for this. I can't stand washing my hair. I know girls relate to me. I'm like a 5 to 7 dayer when it comes to washing my hair. So the fact that I can go there and they can scrub my scalp and style my hair for me, whew, sign me up.
Yeah, so Rodeo Vegas Rehab, mark it down every morning.
9 to 12.
If you aren't feeling good, head over to Resorts World.
Foot massage.
Get it.
But also, if you want to continue from the night before, they're going to have Bloody Marys. They're going to have donuts.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's something
everything.
called a Bloody Mary Challenge, and I don't know what that is, but if you're a Bloody Mary fan,
we're going to figure out what that is.
It's at Rodeo Vegas, Rodeo Rehab. So, moving on, we got some tips for you guys on things that we always want to take with us and we always want to pack. Make sure that you guys, I know it's a fashion thing for the ladies, but you got to have some comfortable clothes and shoes, especially walking around these convention centers that are acres of shopping.
Yeah, bring some comfy, like, hey dudes, I'm a big boots girl while I'm out there. I'll wear heels a couple nights, but I'm big on boots, and that's what's comfortable for me. But yeah, you are going to be doing a ton of walking. Make sure you have a comfortable option.
Yeah, comfortable options. And then the other things that we like to pack, Rachel makes sure that we always have plenty of Advil, ibuprofen, that kind of stuff. Moisturizers, this goes back to you're in the desert.
Yeah, you're going to shrivel up like a raisin. I'm telling you, like, you underestimate it, especially us coming from East Tennessee. It's very humid here. We are just not used to that dry climate. So lots of moisturizer, static guard, and a humidifier are things we always bring, because your clothes get staticky being in the desert since it's so dry. And this year we're going to try a humidifier in the hotel room, see if that helps us a little bit. Jordan lost his voice last year just because it was so dry. So I'm hoping to avoid that this year.
Yeah, same. So we got the main things there, and vitamins, emergency, because the Vegas crud's a real thing. So prep, guys, start now. Don't wait till you get there. Start taking vitamin C, start getting hydrated, and you'll be feeling good. You'll be set up and ready to go and attack Vegas for the 10 days. But the hottest tip of all is to really enjoy your time in Las Vegas for the NFR. Join Pro Fantasy Rodeo at profantasyrodeo.com. If you haven't signed up yet, you still have plenty of time. You can do it all the way up till the first perf starts and sign up, build your team. And the coolest part is that you can join our league for free. So you join for $99, build your team. That's $10 a night, guys. And then you get to join our league for free. We've got a lot of great prizes. We've got Equiderma, Equinety. Those are two of the best equine products on the market. We've got a prize pack from both of those for you. You can win a buckle. You can win some Southeastern Cowboy Network swag. Who doesn't want that?
Yeah, and you've got skin in the game. I mean, it's going to make you hooked and pay attention to the rodeo each night because you're going to want your guy to win. And there's a whole lot of other prizes on the line.
Yep. But what's our biggest takeaway?
The biggest takeaway is that you cannot and you will not do everything. I don't care if you're there 10 days. I don't care if you're there beforehand. You're still not going to get to do everything because there's so much happening. Yeah. I mean, you're in Vegas, guys. There's not only all the things that you can do in Vegas, but there's also all of this shopping, all of the concerts, all of the watch parties, anything else extra going on. So you just got to prioritize what matters to you. What do you want to get out of this trip? Do you want to go to all the free concerts you can for the people you want to see? Okay, great. Write those down and schedule those. Make sure that you are working around those things, but also leave yourself some time to be flexible. You've got to have time to eat. You've got to have time to sit down. You got to have time to take a nap if you need to some days. So just my biggest takeaway is prioritize what matters to you, schedule those things, and leave some flex time that you can say yes or no to others.
Yeah, the reality is no matter how much planning you do, and no matter how many tips you get from us or anybody else, you can't do it all because they've packed so much into it. And that's what makes it so much fun.
Oh, it makes it awesome.
Yeah. So we're ready. We're getting ready to go. We're going to pack. We're going to get on a plane. And we're going to see all of you guys there. And if you aren't going, you can follow along with us. We're going to have a lot of stuff. We're going to have some blogs coming out. We're going to have podcasts coming out. We're going to have live stuff on our Instagram and our Facebook. We're going to be posting. You're going to see all of Rachel's amazing outfits that she's put together for the NFR this year. So it's going to be a good time. We're ready. Viva Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah. And I'm excited about the vlogging more than anything.
Yeah.
I think that that's going to be really cool. If there's something you guys at home want to see from the NFR, let us know. We'll do our best to capture it, but we're going to try and capture some of this stuff for you guys to see, any of the behind the scenes that we can get when it comes to watch parties, concerts, food in Vegas in general, because that's just wild. It's not at all what I expected before we went for the first time. So I'm excited.
Yep.
Can't wait.
We love it.
See y'all there.
See ya.